Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Four of Swords just popped up. I'll read on the subject and we can discuss the Four of Swords. Retreat, isolation, quieting down, contemplation. Question was coming up. Will Georgia's law taking effect in October mean Fani Willis's case gets tossed from state court? And if that's the case, that's a RICO case. Will it get picked up in the federal court? And the follow-up question to that is, if Donald Trump flees the country during Judge Chutkan's case, would he have to stand trial in any of the other cases? Like, how will that impact the Georgia case? As well as E.G. and Carroll and other things along those lines. So, a couple of questions about Trump court cases, and there's the Six of Swords popping up. So there's something here. The cards are telling me about retreat and moving away from troubled waters. So both of those things seem to involve Trump leaving, Trump disappearing, and the cards are already backing it up. And I'm just doing the overhand shuffle. Well, that was a great reading, folks. So now we know the answer. I don't even have to bother reading on it. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you all new subscribers, and thank you for feeding the algorithm beast. I'll catch you on the next video. Now I don't have to have an outro on this one. I'll just end it suddenly. Okay, so Fani Willis. Let's talk about January 6th. With the Georgia election laws, they have these laws where they can they can basically impeach or fire district attorneys, and there's been a lot of concern about Fani Willis, and would the GOP try and do this to her and try and get this case tossed? So with regards to that, will Fani Willis's case continue to proceed in Georgia, this RICO case? So proceed in the Georgia courts. My cards are upside down. It should. But this is also a card of Republicans wanting things their way. And again, underneath it, we've got the disappointment and betrayal card. So this is the Republicans threatening the very democracy, the very laws that we're supposed to hold near and dear. Crossed by the Knight of Swords. All right, so this case is being brought quickly, and some of the people want a very quick turnaround on the trial. I think the GOP is trying to move quickly. If this is the concern, if they're trying to get this thing out of state court, they've got to move really quickly to prevent that, because the way it should be is that she brought the RICO case, she did the investigation. Mind you, she's not the one who asked for the investigation. So the investigation was assigned to her, and she did her investigations. And now, if you're trying to get out of state court, you got to move fast, fast, fast. And underneath there, this is heartbreak and betrayal. To even attempt this is a betrayal to law and order, to the folks of Georgia, and to Georgia politics in general. In the past, we've got the Nine of Coins. To me, this is Fani Willis having done her due diligence. She was handed this case, and she did the best job she could with the resources that she had. And she's quite proud of what they were able to accomplish in the time frame that they were able to accomplish it. She's done her job. She was elected to do a job, which was enforce the laws in Georgia. She has done that, and she's done that well. The problem is that she's now enforcing laws against people they don't want the laws enforced against. Sidebar. That legislation we're talking about is to punish district attorneys who don't enforce the laws of Georgia. She enforced the laws of Georgia. So to try and put her before a committee, at least the committees of other lawyers and judges, but to try and force her before this committee and have her removed from this case, or have this case removed from the state of Georgia, is the very antithesis of what that law was put into place. They put that law into place to prevent, DAs from Georgia from punishing women who got abortions, because the DA may not want to do that, or to if somebody in the election line handed somebody a bottle of water so that they don't, die of heat stroke, and they decide that they don't want to prosecute that, they were threatening to impeach him for stuff like that. But in this case, this would be literally trying to impeach her for doing the job that she was hired to do. Current situation is the King of Pentacles. Well, of course it is. It's the RICO trial against Donald Trump and his conspirators, and the folks that would champion the removal of this case from state to federal court, or just the dismissal of this case and the dismissal of her, are doing it to somehow try and protect Donald Trump from accountability for his actions, which probably tells you just how deep this conspiracy goes. Yeah, this conspiracy trial is going at high levels, but how many agents must have been involved that the GOP is pushing hard against this? The overarching energy is the Page of Cups. It's just the general weirdness of this. Like, again, as I was explaining with how this law works, it's to punish and remove DAs that aren't enforcing the laws. She is enforcing the laws, and now they're trying to say that she's not qualified, or she should be disqualified because she's enforcing the laws. It's like, what? You're trying to disqualify her. You're using the law exactly the opposite way it was intended. And the Democrats just need, and Fani Willis need to hammer this point home so that Georgians and other people understand what it is that folks are trying to do over there. The lesson to be learned from this weirdness is just the wariness. I think Fani Willis is, she's looking over her shoulder because she knows that they're trying to figure out a way to remove her to protect Trump. And she's very guarded. She's waiting for this court case to come through. That's what her focus is on. But her secondary focus is watching her back to see who's trying to stick a knife in it. The outcome is the Four of Coins. To me, this is trying to, for the GOP, this is trying to keep information restricted. They're trying to get this court case tossed out because they're trying to restrict information. For Fani Willis, she's trying to hold her case together and not let politicians blow it apart. So there's a real conundrum here as to what's going to go on with this. All right, so now I'm going to throw on, will they manage to get this thing tossed? This is going to be a long reading, I can tell, because I've got a number of questions on this one. All right, so will the Republicans be successful in getting this RICO case either moved to federal court or tossed out? I don't think they will. When I've read on this before, I kept getting like the Wheel of Fortune. There was too much there that they're not able to do it. It's not a nothing burger. It's a big old juicy burger. And so far, the judges have ruled that, Mark Meadows and those guys couldn't not be arrested by this. Now, Mark Meadows and others are trying to get this thing moved to federal court, and we'll see if they're successful. I don't think there will be, again, because there's too much there. But will the Trump allies be successful in getting this case moved to federal court or tossed? There's going to be an agreement. The Empress, taking care of things. High Priestess. Oh, these are good cards. And Crossroads. A lot of women in here. There's going to be an agreement, and it's involving Trump. There's going to be an agreement. But the thing is that you got the High Priestess here. This is divine feminine knowledge and feminine wisdom. The reason why I was saying these are good cards, these are all female cards. It's all divine feminine energy. And I'm not reading this in a negative light. I'm reading these as positive. Fani Willis has got a real good grip on this case. She's taking care of everything. And do you really want to take this case and toss it out. I think there's going to be an agreement saying that this case is going to stay in Georgia. They're not going to dismiss the RICO case. Is this going to be moving it to the federal courts? That could be decided, but right now I'm leaning towards Fani Willis getting to keep it. There is a possibility it could get moved to the federal courts, but to me, these are stronger cards. You have two major arcana versus a minor arcana. That's telling me that basically this Trump RICO case is going to stay a RICO case, and it's going to stay a state case. That's heavily where the cards are telling this is going. And again, maybe it's bias confirmation on my part, but that's what I've seen before. And I think this is just underscoring that same thing. So don't worry that Trump's case is going to get dismissed, or somehow it's going to go to the federal courts, which purportedly would be more favorable. I guess it's more favorable because then it could be dismissed by pardons or something along those lines. Which I do need to throw on that too. Now, follow-up question. What if Donald Trump flees the country before these trials are done? What happens? To me, they have a trial anyways. You can have a trial with the person in absentia. Absentia? Absentia is probably how it's pronounced. Absentia. Donde está la absentia? Okay. What happens if Trump flees? What happens with these court cases if Trump flees? Entertainment purpose only. Like the Georgia case. What happens to the Georgia RICO case if Trump flees the country and isn't there? Well, I guess everybody will know who he is. Now, I think if Trump flees, again, it just unveils everything. And I suspect that the judge would not be inclined to rule in the favor of Donald Trump or his lawyers on suppression of evidence. I think the judge would allow all sorts of evidence to come through to really shine a light and exposure on all the bad dealings. Now, they do have to make sure it's a fair trial, but the the accused not being there, that's going to cause a lot of people to really rethink their values and reassess the situation. Because why would if the former president is so strong and so secure in his case, why would he run? Why would he abandon this important court case? Why would he, leave his co-conspirators holding the bag while he's out and about free? God, I can't imagine why. Donald Trump throwing people under the bus and saving himself. I couldn't even imagine such a thing. Yeah, if he flees, truth's going to be revealed about him. People are going to reevaluate it, and his co-conspirators are going to be tossed under the bus. And I think even a lot of Trump supporters are going to feel abandoned by him. Who was I? I was just watching somebody, one of our favorite intuitives, whoever that was, discussing. And I was watching Linda and Andre the other day, but discussing. No, you know what it was? I think it was Deanne and Kim. They did their collab the other day. That Trump supporters are going to be really frustrated watching these trials, because for the Democrats it's going to be, just confirmation of what we already have known, that Trump is a crook and he's corrupt. For the Trump supporters, they're going to get really infuriated that he's not defending himself. He's just being picked on, and why is he not defending himself? They're not getting it. It's like, because he's lying. He's made stuff up and he has no bullets in his gun to defend himself. That's why. And it's going to be, if he's there for the trial, they're going to be slow on the uptake. If he flees, they might be a little bit quicker on the uptake. Some will just, he'll be a folk hero to some, say, oh yeah, he fled to Mexico to not get busted by the man. But it's more than that. They're just fooling themselves. Past, Page of Pentacles. Okay, if Trump flees, what happens? The excuses that he's offered, what he's offered up to people, hasn't been of incredible value. It's just his word on this one. Take me at my word, bro. But if he flees, people now have to reevaluate all the things that he told them, because again, on the one hand, they're going to want him to defend himself and be strong. On the other hand, they know that inside they start realizing he's a coward and maybe he wasn't being truthful and he lied to him. And there's going to make some money connections there. If he flees, like the Georgia case, Fani Willis, the district attorney is going to go after him. They're going to present a really strong case, and they're going to get to present all the truths and stuff like that. They still have a strong case. They can make a strong case whether he is there or not. Hell, they can even say, well, if you want to zoom on in to the court case, you just go right ahead. And I don't even think Trump would want to do that. He would just say it's a witch hunt. Overarching energy. Oh, God. There would be so much information coming out. That, again, you've got the Sun card. You've got the Page. Maybe there's a little bit of information. Now there's going to be a ton of information coming out. And, Trump offering very little defense. He's not going to be there to offer a bigger defense if he's not attending his own trial. What's going to end up happening is the prosecutors are going to offer all sorts of evidence that's going to cause people to reevaluate their values and their choices. Him not being there, him fleeing the country, would be the worst thing for him to do. It would just totally, he may stay out of prison, but it will totally undermine his message. The lesson to the sort of the item of value from the overarching energy in this thing is the Moon card. It's the secrets being revealed. All these secrets, all this misdirection, this gaslighting is going to be revealed. And these poor people, again, underneath here, who have bought his lines, hook, line, and sinker, are going to have their worlds shattered. Because the lies will be exposed. The outcome is people right here, the cross, that are reevaluating things, they're going to understand who Trump really is at that point. They will understand as the truth comes out who Trump really is and what he's really done. It's going to be horrifying for these people. Absolutely horrifying to some of them. Obviously, some are not going to want to hear the message. They're just not going to want to hear it. But for others, you can make up 1,000 excuses, but somebody's going to come back and say, then why'd he run? Why didn't he defend himself? And they're not going to have an answer for that. They just aren't. And when they see all the evidence and they can just say, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? If they can figure out what Occam razor is, which is the simplest answer, is often the right answer, because he's a con man. And he lied to you. And you believed it. And you got conned because he's a good con man. I don't think he's a good con man, but apparently he's successful at it. So... okay, anything else on, say, E. Jean Carroll case where he's on alone, no other people involved. I see the Georgia case can go on without Donald, right? Okay. Again, I think with like E. Jean Carroll, if he doesn't show up, it's going to be pretty easy for the jury to rule against him. I mean, he didn't show up for the last defamation case, and the jury ruled against him. And he had the opportunity to show up. And the judge even offered to delay the case to give him time to show up. And he chose not to do it. That speaks volumes. Okay, so we discussed Fani Willis. Will she get her case tossed out? And will they remove her? I'm not seeing it. We talked about him ditching ditching the country and how that's going to work out. I don't think that's going to work out well for him. Anything else on these cases? Delays. Okay, will he delay? Will he be successful in delaying his cases? That's an interesting one because you've got like Sidney Powell and Cheeseborough wanting fast cases. It's like, well, it's a conspiracy case. How does that work when some people want a speedy trial, and others want, like Giuliani and Trump want the trial, extended out? How is that going to work? So will Trump be successful in getting his trials delayed to after the election? And we're talking specifically the Mar-a-Lago documents case, the January 6th insurrection case, and maybe even the Georgia case. The Georgia case is an interesting one. Will he be able to get this thing delayed? He, trying to keep it all together, trying to keep the he's just telling me why he's asking for he's trying to keep the information from getting out because he's trying to steal the election. He thinks that if he can keep the information from getting out, he can steal the election again and get away with it. There's that Page of Pentacles again. I swear this card keeps coming up on every freaking reading of mine. This is Trump's lies. Trump's lies, his election. I'm going to start naming this. This is Trump's election lies card. This is Trump with his election lies. He's trying to keep that information from getting out so that he can steal the election. In the past, Queen of Swords. This has always worked for him. He games the legal system by delay, and he comes up with the craziest reasons to get delays, and it resorts in more court cases and hearings, which inevitably delays things. And he knows that this is his best bet if he can get elected to delay these court cases so that he can just dismiss them. Current situation is Ace of Swords. Problem is the Sword of Truth is out. The Sword of Truth is out and it's strong. And you've got people that are wary and aware of what he's doing and what he's trying to do with this. This Queen of Swords could be Jack Smith being, he's only indicting Trump on the January 6th case. It's a faster trial. Fani Willis brought a much larger case, but even the documents case, this Queen of Swords, it's such a cut and dry case. Eileen Cannon's trying to delay things, but she's going to try and obfuscate things to the point where she's no longer the judge on that trial. Ace of Swords, again, is the current issue. There's so much truth going on right now, it's going to be hard for him to delay. There's a lot of strategies being employed to prevent that from happening. He's going to try and muddy the waters, though. Again, with the Fani Willis case, you have some people asking for a speedy trial, some people wanting to delay it, and that's going to cause some confusion that has to be resolved. Can you try a RICO case against a few parties, or do you have to do them all at the same time? With the Mar-a-Lago documents case, they keep challenging things with the other grand jury. So there's stuff going on behind the scenes that hasn't been revealed. I think it's also information that the Ace of Swords has that they haven't revealed yet. Disappointment and betrayal. I think he's going to be successful in getting some of these court cases delayed, or at least that's the goal. With the Moon card and the Betrayal card, and with these cards, he is absolutely trying to keep things secret about his betrayal to the country, and if he can do that, he thinks again that he can get away with this and make it to the presidency again. So all his delaying tactics are purely to help him get away with something. Outcome, Knight of Pentacles. I think, though, that there is a lot of information that the government's sitting on that is going to thwart his efforts to do this. Now, as he tries to delay, I think the government has to come forward with more and more information, maybe information they'd like to be holding on to, but it comes out with more information so that they can win their cases and keep this thing moving as a speedy trial as opposed to a delay. I'm glad to see a knight card at the tail end here because the knight's about movement. Page is about words. He's trying to keep the stolen election from getting out, but information on the stolen election is going to get out. So will his delaying tactics work? I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I understand why he's trying to do it. He literally is trying to do it to avoid accountability. He thinks that he can get into the presidency and alleviate himself of that, or he can get the GOP in Congress to call off the investigations and such. But I don't think he's going to be successful in that. He's going to try, because that's what he does. But again, these prosecutors understand what he's going to do. They've baked that into the recipe. So they're ready to go to keep things to keep these cases moving forward. Okay, so that's a nice big long reading on Donald Trump in court cases and shenanigans and stuff like that. Wait, I already did my outro. I put down all my thanks. So, great. I hope you found this reading entertaining, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.